Detroit Lions fans, welcome back. Well, give me my space for a second. Let me do my intro. Stepping on my toes. Coming live from downtown Baghdad. If you can hear the fireworks going off in the background there, I am not in a war zone. I am not reporting from the Ukraine. We are in Disney World. Just the fireworks are going off, so I apologize. Bad timing, but Will, we're talking some Detroit Lions football. Hit that subscribe button before we get going. Will, what are we talking?
We are talking disrespect. We're talking about the Detroit Lions going from, well, I shouldn't say going from, because in our hearts, they're still in the same spot. But there's a lot of talk about the Detroit Lions not being the best team in football anymore. So let's get into it, Steve. How do you feel about it?
Disrespect is the right word. The very little national media, ESPN, Get Up, First Take, all that stuff that's on ESPN that I do catch like a little bit in the mornings as I'm passing. I see a lot of people like jumping ship on the Lions, man. Like, yeah. What happened? Like a few weeks ago, we were unbeatable, and nobody wants to play the Detroit Lions, and are they still the best team? And all of a sudden, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers pop up every now and then. If they got healthy, the Minnesota Vikings. We're still one of the best teams in the NFL, aren't we? Like, we didn't do anything to lose our status, did we, Will?
I think that is just media, man. That's what media is. It wants to jump to the next best thing. It wants to make things that are this big. It wants to make things that don't matter. Even when they were talking about us being the best team in football. Now, do I believe that we've done enough to? And these gunshots are just killing me. Like, are you in a safe space?
Yeah, if you see me flinch, just know that a round might be coming through the roof.
All right, I just want to make sure you're good. But yeah, man, when I think about how this thing started, and they were talking about the Detroit Lions as the best team and where we've gone, Dan Campbell has said it the whole time. It doesn't really matter what these guys are saying. I still think the Detroit Lions have done enough to be the best team in football, but at the end of the day, the Minnesota Vikings are right behind us, right? The Philadelphia Eagles are still doing their thing. Baltimore Ravens, although they're struggling, they're still a dangerous team, man. So all these teams have our respect, but the bottom line is we've made it to the dance. That's, to me, that's the hard part. Now, where are we going to be at? We want Rhodes to come through Detroit. You're damn right, because it's hard to win here. Like, it's. I'm not going to use the word impossible, but it's real. The word is floating around in the air. Winning in Detroit it's really darn hard, but
it hasn't been done yet in the playoffs. Nobody's beaten the Detroit Lions at home in the playoffs. I know we've only had 2 games at Ford Field, but the stat still stands.
And I love it, man, because just being in that atmosphere, guys, if you haven't got the opportunity, if you haven't got an opportunity to watch a home game in recent years at Ford Field, you have to do it. I know ticket prices have gone up. Hey, sell some plasma, sell the old lady, do whatever you got to do. Right? Get yourself in the building, or the old man. Yeah, whatever, like Foot Finder, whatever you got to do. Get in the building, because the atmosphere is absolutely crazy. It's electric. It is, especially on those tight games. It's unreal. But Steve, you tell me if I'm wrong here. The playoffs, now it's almost spiritual. Those playoff games. Like, how do you feel about it?
It's a whole different atmosphere. I think that first game against the Rams last year is going to be the only way I can see that atmosphere getting beat is an NFC Championship game, and the Lions score on a game-winning drive or get a game-winning stop. Like, I don't think that Rams game will ever be beat. We've tried to compare it during this season. Like, was the Sunday night opener close? Was Monday Night Football close? Was this past Thursday close? Was Thanksgiving close? Nothing to me has been really close than that Rams game. Like, that environment, that crowd was into it from the time we flipped the coin until Jared Goff ran off the field. So it's tough. And I think if you bring any team here in an NFC Championship game, there is a difference maker with the crowd and how hostile it is. I mean, we saw fans getting into it with coaches last week. Do you see that anywhere else before the games? And I did see that dude had his season tickets revoked. He's no longer a season ticket holder. Yeah, he did. I saw an article about it today. He is no longer a Detroit Lions season ticket holder. So if you're there, you got to know to walk that fine line, because Crybaby LaFleur will report you to the NFL. The NFL will report to the Detroit Lions, and they will take away your tickets.
I hate to see that. I don't tell him, hey man, hit us up. Maybe we'll trade seats and get you back in the building. Just throw some shades on and a hoodie.
Yeah, I just saw it this morning that the Detroit Lions rescinded his NFL season tickets.
Take that for him. Hopefully they did some name compensation, something. I don't know, maybe meet the players a gift package. I don't know, man. Something. I feel bad for that because it's not like he didn't do anything crazy. It's not like he put hands on any of the
No.
players or coaches. He was just talking trash on the field. He got
And
an
the floor,
opportunity.
the floor is the one who came off the sidelines toward him.
Yeah, so it's not like he threw hands at him. He threw his arms up in the air and talked some trash. The players, even a lot of the players talked about it, how they love the energy. So I mean, I don't know, man. It is what it is. I don't want to turn the show about him, man. But hopefully, prayers up that he got some type of compensation package, and they did something nice for him because the guy is a diehard Lions fan. So I don't know. It is what it is. But back to the subject at hand and this level of disrespect and just kind of where this thing is going. One thing that excites me about it is this. The last thing that I would want if I was 31 other teams in the NFL is the Detroit Lions to have any bulletin board material. Like I would be saying nothing, but a lot of the times what you see Dan Campbell get up there and say, even if other teams are disrespecting us, Dan Campbell gets up at the podium and he gives the teams their respect. He talks about the guys who are excelling or are good players on the opposite team, and he says we need to go out and take care of business. The last thing I would want is him going into a locker room and saying, listen, they said this, they did this is what's going on. We need to go get them because we are a highly motivated, highly driven team already. Man, it just bring it on. You want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings? I think their corner was it Byron Murphy? I think career free agent, bounce from team to team guy, like is just talking trash about he's sick of hearing about the Detroit Lions. Dude Love has said some things, and all of the Green Bay Packers from LaFleur, they've talked about all the crying and stuff that they're doing. While they're doing all that stuff, we're worried about how we can get better. We're worried about how our new guys can get gelled with the team and get and learn the playbooks. We're focusing on what we're doing here. It's whatever. Call us dirty. Call us the things you want to call us. Well, I'm gonna call us winners.
Do you think that the Eagles are a team that we should have on our radar? Because I can kind of see this collision course where it's going to come down to the Lions and Eagles, and I think it's going to be a battle for that one seed. We still got a tough road ahead of us. We got Buffalo this week. Luckily, that's an AFC opponent. And then we got the Bears, a division game, a San Francisco 49ers team who the Lions are going to be hungry to beat after last season. And then we wrap it up with the Vikings, who are right on our heels, not giving us any breaks, not giving us any cushion for this lead. I think that Sunday night, that's going to be flexed to a Sunday night game, and that might have the division on the line potentially. I think that news will come out here pretty soon. Do you think that the Eagles are like are we lining up? Is that going to be like a potential matchup down the road, NFC Championship? Do you see that being a possibility?
I definitely see it as a possibility. They don't scare me though, but I definitely respect them. I respect the hell of them. That defense, man. We talked about Cooper DeJean in the offseason, kind of trying to figure out what he was and what he wasn't. Some people were calling him a safety. Some people were calling him a lockdown number one corner. I think we found out that he's a hybrid. He's somewhere in between. He still doesn't have a true, I'm not going to send him out to the edge like they do Quinyon Mitchell, but at the same time, I'm not going to just deem him unathletic and just a guy that has to play safety. He's a good football player. And then, D-line, phenomenal. Edge rushers, phenomenal. Linebackers, phenomenal. Safeties, pretty good besides C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's a turd. And then, their corners, Big Play Slay and Quinyon Mitchell, man. They got ballers everywhere, man. They got ballers on their reserves. That offense, we know what it is with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and that offensive line. And then we're talking about a running back that's in the MVP race. You definitely got to put some respect on their name, but they don't scare me. I feel like we got the same stuff going on in Detroit. Like, what are we talking about here?
And the last news I heard was A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were having a little beefing going on. That there's some diva mentalities coming out from that big wide receiver, that he's not getting the ball enough. Have you seen anything about that?
I seen it at the beginning of the season. I kind of thought that they had cleaned it up a little bit, but it could very well be going on. I don't really lock into it too much. I catch it on Twitter a lot of the time, and then as I see it bleeding through Twitter, then I'll start digging through it if I get a little bit of time. But
I saw
it kind of seemed like they gelled.
I saw Brandon Graham. He was on a podcast or an interview or something, and he had mentioned that they had gotten into it after the Carolina game. I don't have the full details. We don't cover the Philadelphia Eagles, so I'm sure that there's probably some misinformation. But where there's smoke, there might be a little fire.
Yeah. One thing that I do love is you don't see that in Detroit.
No.
And I'm not going to sit up here and say that there's not things. I'm sure there is things that happen here and there, but it's not things that spill out. I even saw Deebo Samuel earlier today. The thing that he made on Twitter talking about not getting the football. He's like, I'm not struggling. I just don't get the ball. Posting that stuff on Twitter. So I don't know, man. I'm just glad that we don't have those type of things going on here in Detroit. The most we got to worry about is, what J-Mo eats for dinner. And if that's going to be in the news, that's like the biggest thing that we got to worry about. Outside of that, it's pretty much all on the up and up. And then what I love is how we stand up for each other. Something goes down with J-Mo, I got Kirby Joseph coming to the game or to practice with a free J-Mo shirt on. You know what I mean? Something goes down with Brian Branch, I got Kirby Joseph issuing out to the team Brian Branch t-shirts with flipping everybody the bird. It's like if there's one problem going on with one of the brothers, then all the rest of the brothers are gonna stick up, stand up for each other. We got a true brotherhood. We got a true family. I love it, man. Like, I bring on the disrespect. If you want to disrespect, that's cool. Give us another reason to be fired up and be motivated to go play. Because ultimately, I think you said it yesterday. It's another one of those things that don't matter. MVP, it doesn't matter right now. Now, on the back end of your career, at the end of the season, are you going to reflect and be like, man, that was cool. We won the Super Bowl and I was MVP. You know what I mean? But you're after the Super Bowl. Are you going to reflect on the season like, yeah, those guys were talking shit, man. And we gave them the business, though. Yeah, and then went on and won the Super Bowl. Because that's the things that matters, winning the football game. So if you want to talk about us, cool. You want to disrespect us, there was another idiot, I ain't even going to mention his name, that was talking about Dan Campbell as a bad coach. I mean, the disrespect just goes on and on. We don't know how to draft, Steve. We draft people at places that have no value. Why are we drafting
positional value? Yeah, that was
what are we
floating around a couple years ago with Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
And Jack Campbell, Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe we should have drafted Jalen Carter. We got Jameson Williams. Yeah, I mean, at one point, do we just say, hey, let's stop questioning these guys and just enjoy good quality football? You know, I'm down here in Florida right now, and I'll tell you, I ran into a Lions fan. I had my Lions hat on the other day, and he goes, man, it's just great, you know, having real good football these last 2-3 years, isn't it? And I was like, I have been waiting my whole life for this. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. We were just talking. It was probably like a 10-minute conversation on our shuttle bus to the park, and he just saw my hat. We just started talking football for a minute, and we both just said, like, this is what we've been waiting for the past however long you've been a Lions fans. Consistent, good football. Like, we've seen some playoff football with Stafford and Calvin Johnson. It didn't go anywhere. We didn't get a playoff win. Now we're talking on here, Super Bowl. Are we making arrangements for New Orleans? Are we going to see the Eagles in the NFC Championship game? Like, before, it's always been like, at this point in the season, for 30 plus years, we've been talking about, man, it's week 15. We're going to have a top 5 draft pick. Who are we looking at? Like, that's been the conversation. And now it's, we clinch the playoffs. Can we clinch the number 1 seed? How deep of a run can this team go? So let's stop questioning coaches. And we do it too. We question coaches. You know, we talk about some decisions for content. Obviously, if it's a hot topic, we're going to talk about it. But we're 11-1, like 12-1. I don't even know what our record is. I know we only have 1 loss. Like, we're winning football games. Let's stop nitpicking on draft picks and what's happened 3-4 years ago. We're gearing up for a Super Bowl run. It's December. It's the second week of December. This is when you want to be playing your best football. We're getting a lot of guys healthy at the right time. And I'll tell you what, I wish I could remember. Someone commented on it a couple episodes ago. I can't remember who it was. If it was you, leave a comment. Someone named this defensive line. Did you see what they named them, Will?
What's up?
The Legion of whom? I mean, that's just what we've been putting out there. Just a bunch of guys that even me, like, when I see some dudes coming into a game, I have to get on my phone like, man, who's this guy? Oh, yeah, I forgot. We picked him up because we're so banged up. We're getting Levi back. We're getting Pascal back. Anzalone coming back here in a couple weeks, hopefully. Like, this is a good time to be playing good football and getting healthy, and with the guys who have already picked up their some roster spots and made a huge impact.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, man, but I think our defense is getting disrespected, and there'll be some things that we talk about in future episodes coming up this week. But I think this defense is getting disrespected, and I think they're going to show up in a big way. I'll just leave it at that until we get to talk about it further on in the week. But I don't think it is. I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. And I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about nationally. Nationally, they make it like we're going out with the deaf, dumb, and blind, and then it's just not the case. Or we got, I think, Kay Adams, and Kay Adams is by no means a hater at all. She's a Detroit Lions supporter. She's always talks highly of them. But one thing that she did say a couple of days ago when I caught her with Calvin Johnson on the show, she said, "I feel like the Detroit Lions had a 2017 Pro Bowl team on their team now." I was like, "Ooh." She's not wrong with some of the guys that we picked up, but it's about what we're asking them to do, and we're not asking those guys to go out and play 60 defensive snaps. We're asking them to come in, spot duty, maybe play 20 snaps, 25. You know, and it could be less, it could be more depending on the game. It's not go out there and be a Pro Bowler for a snap here, a snap there, not the grind of a season. And a lot of these guys are coming in just for the back half of the season. And they're not as old as we think. So you look at Jamal Adams, he's 29 years old. It's not like he's 34 and he's coming in and he has no juice left. There's still a little bit of juice left to squeeze in a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting down to the fine parts of the NFL here. It's the home stretch. We're getting healthy. We're playing good football. Our defense lost its best defensive player, like week 5, 6, whatever it was. And I've talked about it before. We've seen teams crumble. When TJ Watt got hurt for the Pittsburgh Steelers, their team was over. All right. And a lot of teams, if you lose your best defensive player, your season's over. That's not how the Detroit Lions have taken it. And I honestly thought it for a second. When Hutch got hurt, I was like, man, like this was supposed to be the year. Is it gone now? I see what Aaron Glenn's done. Brad Holmes has done, picking up these players, putting them in the right spots, the right opportunity, giving them, like you said, not 20 to 25 snaps, but maybe 10 really, really solid, meaningful snaps. Yeah, Jamal Adams, not that old. Like, he's 29. What are we talking? People are putting him out to like the old folks home, like when we signed him, like he's 45 years old or something. Like, he might not be the same guy he is, but are any of us? I mean, I just walked around like 10 miles at Disney, and I'm hurt, and I damn sure ain't getting out there and playing football, you know?
I'm the same as when I was 18 years old.
Not even close.
same weight, same 40. There's just 2 of us now.
That's right. Anything else tonight, Will?
No, man. Just put it in the comments, guys. And I feel like we bounced around a little bit, but how do you feel about this disrespect? Do you feel like the Lions they're still the best team in football? And if not, who do you think is taking over, man, as the best team? And just be honest with it, because we're not going to nail you if you don't think the Detroit Lions are the best team, because just like if you believe that they were before, they can become the best team, or they can still finish the season the best team. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like the Lions are still the best team in football, and I think they're going to show it as they get these opportunities.
Yeah, I think my last thing is the only player or the only person I've seen nationally that's been 100% the same opinion week in, week out has been Rex Ryan. Like, I think every week he's picking the Detroit Lions. Like, he's speaking highly of us. I mean, there's a couple other guys. Even Dan Orlovsky's kind of flip-flopped. Ryan Clark flip-flopped. And that's fine. You know, that's their opinion. Those guys are professionals. They play the game. They understand how the game goes. We're not knocking it. We just don't understand where it's coming from, I think, is the thing. Like, yeah, we've been banged up, but that's been the story all year. Like, that's nothing new. Last I checked, we still have won more than 10 games in a row. So we just don't understand where it's coming from. So leave it in the comments, stick around, hit that like button. And lastly, shout out to Will for handling that bombard of fireworks going on behind me. Ultimate focus there. You were just lasered and locked in. I appreciate that. Stick around, hit that like button, guys. Subscribe. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.